We are live. What's up, my friend? Abby here, and welcome back to another Write With Me live stream here on my channel as a part of the June virtual writing retreat. I'm so glad you're here. So glad you could make it. It is a lovely, cozy, rainy day here in Vermont. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but I have my window open and it's been raining all day. And I've been writing for most of the day. So it's been an ideal writing day here in Vermont. Hopefully, it's an ideal writing day where you are as well. Or if you just sat down to write, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to join this live stream and this group writing session. So, first things first, tell me where you're tuning in from. Type in the chat and tell me if you can hear me and see me okay as well. Sounds like you guys can hear me and see me. Awesome. So awesome to see you all here. If you are just joining for the first time and you have not joined any of these live streams before, then welcome. It's not too late to start working on your manuscript if you haven't been here for the June writing retreat. What we are doing this month is we're just devoting our time and energy to our creativity 30 days in a row. That's the challenge. And it's been going on here on my channel and in my Discord community, if you're part of that as well. But yeah, for the month of June, we've just been devoting our time and attention to our writing projects and getting a lot done. Lots of words have been written, lots of progress has been made, and I'm so glad that you guys have been able to be here and be a part of it. It's really, really exciting to see. Okay, we have writers from all over the world tuning in right now. Let's see, Texas, Nigeria, Vancouver, Missouri, North Dakota, Canada, Greece. Awesome. So cool. It's amazing to see you all here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. If this is your first time doing one of these Write With Me live streams, here's how it works. We're going to do writing sprints. 4 writing sprints total, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So we'll sprint for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And during that 5-minute break, I will chat with you guys, answer some questions that pop up in the chat, and then we'll get back into our next writing sprint. So pretty simple. That's how they work. I'm going to set a timer. I'm also going to set this countdown clock over here. And if you are in the Discord, I'm going to start a sprint in the Discord as well. So if you're not part of the Discord, you can join that by joining my Patreon at any level. And the link to that is in the description box below this video. But the Discord is just a really fun place to hang out because we do writing sprints every day in the Discord. There are writers doing writing sprints, discussing their stories, brainstorming, sharing their work. It's an amazing, vibrant community. So if you aren't part of the Discord, I'd highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of these Write With Me live streams. So click the link below this video to get access to that. Okay. So what are you working on today? I'd love to hear about it. Type in the chat. I know some of you have been here before. Before I showed up, you were chatting about your works in progress, but I'd love to hear what you're working on today. I'm actually kind of all over the place this month with my writing projects. My goal has kind of just been to write what I feel like when I feel like it, which I feel is needed for this season of my life. So it's been fun. And today I'm working on an older project that I'm actually rewriting, and I rewrote several years ago, but I've had some ideas for it since, just some modifications I want to make to it, some different ideas that I've had to improve it. So I'm actually working on the 4th draft of that book. And it's a book that I've always loved so much ever since I first wrote the first draft, like a long, long time ago. It's one of those ones that just keeps coming back to me. So I'm enjoying working on that today, and it's been a lot of fun. So it looks like we have tons of different genres being written today. So many different writers. Fantasy adventure, sci-fi, Jane Austen retelling. That's cool. That's awesome. A new adult novel, magical realism, dystopian. Amazing. I love seeing the huge variety of genres here in the Write With Me live streams. It's so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to dive into my manuscript now and set the timer, and then we will have a break in 25 minutes, and I will chat with you guys. Until then, good luck, enjoy writing, and enjoy the backdrop of this lovely rainy day. Okay, let's go. Camera number 1 just rang. Sprint number 1 is done. Fantastic job, guys. Post your word count if you desire. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break and then get back into it. So 1526 is my final. So 226 words. Kind of reconstructing a conversation and like taking bits and pieces of dialogue from like 2 separate scenes and trying to make them work. So it's been interesting. It's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. But let's get to some questions. Looks like you guys had a wonderful first sprint. Starry Jade asks, how many words should I have in a fantasy story? It really depends on the type of story you're writing, whether it's a novel, a series, or it could be even a short story. So it really depends on the length that you're going for. But I would say that a good length for like a fantasy novel, whether it's standalone or part of a series, would be like anywhere from 100 to 200,000 words. I've seen them kind of all over the place. It could be over 200,000 words, 300,000 words. I would recommend just looking at like some of the comp titles, like comparable books out there that are similar to the book you're writing, and see what their average word count is. Let's see. Lily Likes Purple asks, how do I make my characters interesting? Make your characters interesting by giving them interesting internal conflict. Like that is the number one thing that makes characters interesting, is seeing what they're dealing with internally. Like what are they struggling with? What is the main problem they face with themselves because of what they believe? What is the obstacle that they keep running into that keeps them from happiness? That's what makes your characters unique, because that's what kind of drives all their motivations, right? It drives all their decisions. So digging deeper into what drives them, what are they afraid of, what is their goal, and what is their misbelief about the world, or their fatal flaw, that lie that they believe is true that always trips them up. That is my number one piece of advice for making your characters interesting. Sam asks, how would you avoid filler in slower parts of your story? I try to avoid filler by just making those slower parts of the story matter by bringing the protagonist's internal conflict into it again. It's all about bringing that internal conflict in. And in those slower moments, maybe you have an opportunity for your characters to contemplate what's going on internally, right? Like maybe your plot is full of action and high stakes scenes and a lot of stuff happening to the main characters, maybe a lot of big decisions that they make. But those in-between moments of the story is really where your character struggles quietly with their decision-making process. So I would say bring some of that into your filler. Make your filler more of that quiet internal struggle that the characters are having in order to make the next decision. And if you feel like, okay, I have some of that, but I need something else, then incorporate some subplots and make your subplots matter to the main plot by having them directly impact the protagonist. That's one way that I like to kind of incorporate, not filler, but like just making slower scenes or in between scenes that appear in between big plot points, making them feel like they matter more by bringing in a significant subplot, whether that's happening to a side character or a main character. One last question, a super chat from Castor Lamb. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Abby. Do you have any tips for bringing a character into and out of a scene without it feeling like an enter stage left, exit stage right moment? I would say give the character a significance in the scene. Like, what is it about this scene that this character is going to add something here? What are they going to bring to the scene that no other character is bringing? Whether that's maybe sparking some sort of internal struggle in the main character or the point of view character, or whether they are serving a purpose for the plot or fitting some sort of role that matters because of what's happening in the plot, in the external conflict. But I would recommend going one step further and tying it to the main character's internal conflict if you can. So, like, bringing in a character into a scene and then making their presence matter to the scene so that the scene actually couldn't unfold quite the same way without that character in it. And I know that sounds kind of vague, but I kind of have to be vague because it's so different depending on what kind of scene you're writing. But notice this also in stories that you watch or read. Notice how the writer brings in characters and uses them for a special purpose and then lets them continue on their way, and how that character's presence actually changes and impacts the scene in a lasting way. Okay, I've been talking for too long. Let's get into our next sprint. I'm going to reset this timer. Great questions, guys. Hopefully that helps. I'll answer some more questions in the next break. But let's set up a timers one more time. And I'm going to start another sprint in the Discord as well. So feel free to join over there. I'm going to join again the same word count and see if I can continue building this scene, building this dialogue out. Okay, let's get started. Sprint number 2 just finished. Tell me how it went in the chat. Hopefully you had a good sprint again. Let's see. I did copy over a little bit of dialogue from that scene I'm working on. So let's see, 2142. Oh, our sprint in Discord hasn't finished quite yet, but I will add my words as soon as it does. So I'm kind of like copying and pasting dialogue from this other version of the scene and rewriting it to include more characters. It's chaotic, but it's good. It's going good. Looks like you guys had a great sprint. Wonderful. Fantastic work, you guys. Awesome. So I'm going to answer a few questions, and then we're going to get into our third sprint. Okay. Swalan asks, at what point should I start editing my story? This will be different for every writer, but for me, how I like to start my editing process is by first letting my book sit for a while, editing. So if I just finished writing something, I like to set it aside for like a minimum of 2 months. I prefer to go a bit longer than that. 6 months is kind of more my ideal. I try to like forget as much as possible about the details of the story if I can. And usually I have so many projects going on at the same time that I can for a while and work on something else. But you'll find your sweet spot that works for you. But I would recommend setting it aside for a little while and then coming back to it once you've kind of had time to disconnect from it, and then start your editing process. But that will be different for every writer. So you have to find what works best for you. Let's see. Nana Q asks, do you have any advice for talking about mythology and stuff? I feel like the part where my character's rambling about them, it's not coherent enough. Chances are it's way more coherent than you think. I know sometimes during the drafting process it feels like, oh, this is not coherent enough. This is, you know, something is missing here. But a lot of times it's better than you think. And this would also be something to get some beta readers advice on. But as far as like talking about mythology or just the different cultures and histories around your world building, sometimes it's better to have less rather than more, because that can get like a bit too much sometimes. So less is more is a good rule of thumb, and getting feedback from other readers is also a good idea. But finding out like what are the most relevant parts of the mythology and keeping like the most relevant parts. Lily Cole asks, what are some ways I can get my name out there as a young writer? Some ways that I would recommend doing this is by just starting some kind of channel online that you enjoy personally, that you feel like this is the type of content that I enjoy making, whether that's a blog or a YouTube channel, or maybe just an Instagram channel or some kind of a social media platform where you can share something of value with others. So that might be about writing, that might be about books if you're a voracious reader, or it might be about something different. But I would recommend something that is connected to your author career. And when I say sharing something of value, it doesn't have to be anything big or fancy. It can be literally just lessons that you learn along the way. Anything that you have gained experience in, you can share that experience with someone else, and that's valuable to them. So that's what I would first recommend doing, is like starting small, and don't be discouraged by starting small. Like, be willing to make connections with other people, reach out to other people, make friends in the writing community. And by networking, I mean like making a point of being there for other writers and making friendships that will last a long time. That's so valuable. It's so important. And just showing up, taking your time, and knowing that it will grow. It will grow exponentially. And as you continue down this path and you just continue to show up and share what you have, share what you love, it will attract your ideal readers as you go down that path. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question. Kayla asks, do you have any tips for creating an immersive, interesting world? I could honestly use any help you have. I'm stuck. So if you're creating a world that's like a fantasy world, that's not the real world, I would recommend just drawing on inspiration of things that you personally love. And that's what's going to be the most interesting for you to write. So I always aim for, in everything I write, I aim for having the most fun with it. Like, what is something that I wish existed? And this is something that my sister and I have been playing around with in our series, our co-write series, which is a urban fantasy. So there's a lot of elements to it that are fantastical, although it does take place in the real world. But we have kind of played with like this dynamic of what are some things that have inspired us and what are some things that we wish we could see in a book series? Like, what's the ideal fantasy world that you wish you could find a book that takes place in this world and has these elements and these components, or maybe a certain magic system or certain creatures and animals and different elements of the world? Like, what is your absolute ideal of that? And then write that, like, have fun with that. Don't worry so much about like expectations or what's been done already. Just have fun with it. Try to find the fun and find the joy and the creativity. That would be my advice. And as far as world building, like explaining this world in an interesting way that doesn't bore your readers, I would recommend checking out my video on world building. And also, I did an Ask Abby video about world building through exposition through action. So world building through action and through the characters rather than just dumping information. So check out that video. It's on my channel. If you type in Abby Emmons exposition through action, it should pop up. But yeah, that video gives some good examples. Okay, let's get into our third writing sprint, and I'm going to set up Discord again. I forgot to insert my words into Discord because I got distracted talking, but it's okay. I'm at 2142, but I may finish this chapter and then skip over to outlining, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so set your timers or follow mine. I'm going to reset mine to 25 minutes, and then we will have another break. Sprint number 3 is done. Great work, guys. Tell me how it went in the chat. I finished my chapter. Yay! 2252. I feel like I deleted more words than I wrote in that sprint, but it's all good. Progress is progress. Okay, wonderful. Looks like you guys had a great sprint. Fantastic. Great job. Okay, I'm going to answer a few questions, and then we'll get into our 4th and final writing sprint. Time is just flying today. It's crazy. Okay, let's see. Bella asks, help, how do I balance 2 major plots with their own arcs? So by major plots, I assume you're meaning 2 main characters who have their own plots and are trying to find balance. Or maybe you have 2 major plots for 1 character. Either way, you're going to want to at least make some semblance of an outline so that you kind of know the structure of these 2 arcs and how they fit together. And by structure, I mean basically just the progress of them. So what I try to do when I'm kind of paralleling 2 major plots is figure out like, okay, where do these 2 plots kind of like interweave and why does one matter to the other? So maybe I have a character who is trying to accomplish a particular external goal, but at the same time, they're dealing with some sort of internal struggle that's also a big part of the plot. Or maybe they have an external goal that they've been kind of sent on a mission to accomplish, but at the same time, there's a personal goal involved. So that can be an interesting thing to balance, and it can be a little bit difficult, I know, but the best way, in my opinion, to do this is to like make a bullet point story structure and to find like, okay, if you have to do like 1 bullet point structure for the first plot and then a whole separate bullet point list for the second plot, and then just merge them and see how they line up. And not every plot point might line up. Like the game-changing midpoint of 1 plot might be a little bit different for the other plot, and that's okay. There might not be a game-changing midpoint for the other plot line, and that's okay. So finding the places where they interweave and then the places where one takes more prominence than the other, and just kind of finding the flow with it. That's what I do anyway. Okay. Lily Cole asks, what are some ways to get some money to publish my book? There are lots of different ways that you can fund your book publishing project. If you have the ability to crowdfund, that is an option for raising money to publish your book. Another thing that I'd recommend doing is just budgeting your book as tightly as possible. Because you can do a lot of it yourself. If you're an indie author, you can do a lot of the process yourself by simply taking on some of those detail things about the process and not hiring other people to do them. So for instance, the book cover, the formatting, stuff like that. As much as you can do yourself, the better, because that saves you money. But there are certain things that you're not going to want to just do fully yourself, like the professional editing process. I would definitely recommend budgeting in a professional editor. And if you can, a professional proofreader. Otherwise, if you can't budget a professional proofreader, I would recommend having 2 or 3 trusted friends help you proofread. Can be really helpful. But look into crowdfunding because that might be an option for you. Christina asks, assuming Kate and Abby won't do a hangout this month either, what topic will be your July live training? Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Christina. So last month, at the end of last month, I was like super busy with announcing my new book and doing a lot of prep work for that. So there wasn't a live hangout, but we are going to do a live hangout for the Kate and Abby Show Patreon at the end of this month. We're not doing a live training this month. I'm not doing a live training because we're doing this live virtual writing retreat instead. And doing a lot more live streams this month. So it's been kind of a little bit of a different focus this month, but the live trainings will continue in July and going forward. So stick around for that. And I have something really special planned also that I'm going to be publishing soon, which is a new masterclass. And I don't really want to give away what it's about, but it's exciting because it has to do with indie publishing. And it's going to help you guys a lot. It's going to help you tremendously with your indie publishing process and helping you to create a really beautiful professional presence with your book. So stay tuned for that. That's coming soon. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Okay, let's get into our final sprint. You guys are still with me. Thank you for staying on this long. I promise we're going to wrap up soon. This is the last sprint. So let's finish strong. I'm finished with this chapter that I just finished writing. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of outlining because I'm a little bit lost with with where I'm at in this book. Like I said, I haven't picked it up in a long time. So I want to get into the outline and just kind of make some notes, get a better sense of direction. So let's start up our timers again. I'm going to start one more sprint in the Discord. I'm going to join that, but I'm not going to probably add any words because I'm going to be outlining. So, all right, let's get into our last sprint, guys. Good luck. Boom. Sprint number 4 is done. Our final sprint. Wonderful work, guys. Way to go. Way to stick with it all the way to the end. You should be so proud of yourselves and so happy with the progress that you've made. Even if you didn't write a lot, it's okay. The point is to show up for yourself. Besides, it's the weekend. Go easy on yourself. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a retreat, right? We're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. So, no judging of your word count if you feel like you didn't write enough or something. The point is just to show up. So, I hope you enjoyed showing up with me today on this live stream. I certainly had a good time. It was a great sprint. I finished rewriting this chapter and I was able to do a little bit of outlining as well. So, all around a productive session, and I'm really happy to be back in this book. It's something that I've been kind of just slow pace working on here and there. I started rewriting it last summer and I really love the new style I'm taking with it, and I am excited to make these changes to this story. So yeah, really exciting. It's exciting because I can't wait to share with you guys one day. And I can't wait to share my new book with you. The Other World has been taking up so much of my time lately to put this book out into the world, but it's going to be worth it. And I can't wait for you guys to read it. In fact, I have a super exciting video coming next Wednesday. So if you guys remember my last video about the book, The Other World, I said mark your calendars for June 21st because on June 21st, I'm making an exciting announcement about the other world, about ARC reading opportunities. So if you want to be an ARC reader for the other world and read this book before the rest of the world does, stay tuned for that video. It's coming Wednesday. And in that video, you can learn how to be an ARC reader. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked to invite you guys to join the ARC team. So yes, very exciting. Keep an eye out for that video coming Wednesday. And we're going to do another writing sprint on Wednesday too, or writing session. So big day Wednesday. The video will go up early on Wednesday. And then I think we might do another evening writing session. So maybe even later in the evening. So let's see what happens. But keep an eye out for all of that. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this live stream. I'm so glad you were able to make it. And I'm so glad that you enjoyed your writing time with me. It was great. Excellent work and way to go showing up for yourself. So I will see you in the next live stream, and I will see you on Wednesday for that special ARC announcement video. Stay tuned for all of that. And until then, my friend, as always, rock on.